Continuing our crisis in the classroom investigation, the family of a Milton Union student suing the district after they say nothing was done after their child was sexually assaulted by this man, Jerry North. He's the former school custodian that's awaiting trial for sexual assault and rape. Gwyneth Falloon spent the evening digging through the family's lawsuit. She is live now outside the school where this allegedly took place. What did you learn?
Well, Adam, this is the lawsuit. It has been filed against the board, the superintendent, and North. Now, the details of the alleged abuse, they're extremely disturbing, and due to the serious nature of the crime and out of respect for the victim and their family, I'm not going to be going into specific details, but they are laid out right here in the court documents. Now, according to these documents, the abuse is said to have started on or around August 1st, 2019. The boy was just 7 years old at the time. The family says North was following their son into the school's restroom, refusing to give him privacy, and then sexually assaulted him multiple times. The victim says this made him, quote, extremely uncomfortable. According to court documents, his parents took their complaints to the district and Superintendent Dr. Brad Ritchie several times over a 2-year period. The lawsuit claims Superintendent Dr. Ritchie did not properly investigate or report these claims, and neither did the several other district employees who were made aware of the accusations. I spoke with the family's attorney about the lawsuit.
There are laws in the state of Ohio that are set up, that have been passed to protect students from sexual abuse. And in this particular case, this family complained at every level and in some respects were just ignored. This student was failed at every level.
Now, North, he was arrested back on May 4th on 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of gross sexual imposition, and 1 count of intimidation of a victim. He's expected in court for trial next month. That's on November 28th. Now, we did reach out to the superintendent for comment. He responded saying he has, quote, no comment on the lawsuit or any future litigation regarding the matter. I have also reached out to the school board president as well as every school board member and have yet to hear back. Back to you.
Gwen, thanks. All right, we're going to switch over to weather now because things are going to be changing in a relative hurry relative to what we've had anyway.
Yeah.
87 today, but that's goodbye.
Yeah, 3rd day in a row where we got to this number. It's been hot out there, especially this time of the year, upper 80s, well above the normal. Not quite a record, but pretty close. Record to beat was 91 today. But overall, it was a hot one. And it's still a very mild evening. So we're sitting at 72 in Dayton. We have some upper 60s out there too. Cool spots in Xenia sitting at 62, but a cold front is going to be making its way in. So clouds continuing to build in. We'll see pretty much overcast skies as we head overnight and then into the day tomorrow. But then eventually this cold front will make its way through, bringing us rain by the second half of the day. So heading out to school tomorrow, cloudy skies. By the afternoon, however, we will be seeing showers and in fact widespread precipitation by the second half of the day. So bring that rain gear with you. Be prepared for some showers in the forecast. I'll let you know how much rain and how cold we'll get behind the front coming up.
Schools in the area will soon have a chance to improve their responses in an emergency. That's all thanks to a $4 million grant they can apply for. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost announcing the money will be available for them to invest in new technology. General Lee Bork explains what districts plan to do with the money.
Districts that apply and are approved will get up to $30,000. I spoke with Attorney General Yost, and he said the money can be used for things like camera systems that will automatically allow law enforcement to see a situation as it unfolds, amongst other things.
We want law enforcement and school administrators to have these kinds of tools available so that if, God forbid, we should have an emergency situation like this, that they have the best tools, best information to respond and protect our kids.
Some of the technology schools can consider are silent panic alarms, camera systems that will allow law enforcement immediate visual access to a crime scene, and gunshot detection technology.
Applications are already being accepted, and the deadline to apply is November 30th of this year. Districts will find out in January of next year if they're going to receive the money or not. They're supposed to submit a proposal with the application of what they will use the money for. Back to you.
Live pictures tonight from our roadways through our ODOT cameras, as in just a few hours now, you could get a ticket for using your phone while behind the wheel. Starting at midnight, the new distracted driving law goes into effect. Police have been issuing warnings for the last 6 months, but now it is a ticketable offense. Here's what you need to know. The law bans texting, using social media, or FaceTiming while driving, unless it is a single touch or swipe to answer a call and held up to your ear. It's likely against the law. There are exceptions, of course, in case of emergencies. The city of Trotwood will not have a planned 3.75 mil property tax renewal levy on the November ballot. The city released a statement saying it took the proper steps to get it on the ballot, but a clerical error prevented it from making it there. Now, the final paperwork was accidentally sent to Montgomery County's auditor rather than the Montgomery County Board of Elections. So the city plans to place the levy on the ballot next year. The city of Oakwood had the same issue with their renewal levy. The Dayton City Commission now considering whether the former Montgomery County Fairgrounds is a blighted area. This would mean that area could seek improvements and be used for residential or public purposes. Tonight was the first hearing on the issue. No decision has been made. We'll, of course, let you know the latest developments on air and online. The West Carrollton Board of Education approving the budget to create a new elementary building and combined middle and high school building. Now, the board hosted a community forum to answer questions and show off the construction plan for those new builds. The district using state funding with 81 cents for every dollar coming from that fund. Inspections showed the old buildings would be more costly to repair and bring up to date with technology.
Our safety features are tremendously upgraded from what we currently have. The comfort for the building, the air quality is better in the buildings, and just the whole learning environment and the technology is just a huge upgrade from what we currently have in our schools.
The projects are expected to break ground at the end of the month. New parents in Ohio, they are getting new tax breaks. A long list of baby supplies now tax-free thanks to a new law that took effect last Sunday. This is year-round, too. As Luke Jones reports, parents, they're pretty pumped about it.
Turn around, say hi.
They say nothing prepares you for becoming a parent. After having 2 sons, Brittany Goen says nothing prepared her for the constant expenses.
Everything that you need to take care of children is quite expensive. Formula, diapers, car seats, strollers. Bubbles.
She'll spend a little less going forward, though, because now many of those items are exempt from Ohio state sales tax. Diapers, baby wipes, strollers, and cribs, all on the list of qualifying items.
That saves a lot.
Christian Davis is with the Cincinnati Parent Empowerment Network. They've been pushing for a tax exemption for over a year after watching new parents struggle under the weight of inflation.
You're tackling on $400 to $500 a month on top of your rent, your gas and electric, your other staple items, food for the house.
While baby supplies won't be subject to the 5.7% state sales tax, you'll still have to pay local taxes.
That is true, but some savings, I mean, honestly, some savings for our families means the world. Something is better than nothing.
In Cincinnati, I'm Luke Jones.
Live pictures tonight from Washington, D.C. as drama at the Capitol continues today after Kevin McCarthy was ousted as Speaker of the House. Tonight, Representative Matt Gaetz defending his successful effort to remove McCarthy from his role as Speaker. 8 Republicans voted against McCarthy, but it was Gaetz who spearheaded the whole thing. The Florida lawmaker has faced criticism, including from members of his own party. He insists it was not personal.
Hadn't seen enough Republican wins. I saw a whole lot of press releases, but on the things that mattered, on the things of substance, like the debt limit deal and the appropriations process, we were waving the white flag of surrender.
I think it was done for narcissistic, for selfish reasons, for fundraising reasons. I don't think it has anything to do with actually advancing conservative causes.
The House is expected to stay in recess for the rest of the week. Republicans scheduled to hear from Speaker candidates at a forum next Tuesday. President Biden is now urging the House to elect that new Speaker, get back to work on a long-term funding solution for the government.
We have a lot of work to do, and the American people expect us to get it done.
The continuing resolution that passed before the former Speaker was forced out funds the government for another 40 days. The president wants the government fully funded on a bipartisan deal without any threat of a shutdown. In doing so, he criticizes the polarization on Capitol Hill.
More than anything, we need to change the poisonous atmosphere in Washington. You know, we have strong disagreements, but we need to stop seeing each other as enemies. We need to talk to one another, listen to one another, work with one another, and we can do that.
This after all congressional Democrats who were in the chamber Tuesday voted to strip the gavel from McCarthy. Democrats say he broke a funding promise to the president, opened a politically motivated impeachment inquiry, and voted to overturn the 2020 election results. And the future of Ukraine funding appears uncertain following the removal of McCarthy. Some of his possible successors are skeptical about continuing support for Ukraine at current levels. Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio announced his speakership bid and says he would oppose an aid package for Ukraine. The White House press secretary emphasizing the president is committed to working across the aisle to secure the new funding. Republicans just eager to choose a new speaker.
This is like shambolic behavior that we're seeing from House Republicans. And so they need to figure it out. They need to end the infighting. And the president is willing and ready, as he has for the last 2 years, to work in a bipartisan way to get the job done for the American people.
There's a lot of angry people, but I would submit to you, when we get a new leadership in, we're going to be just fine.
Earlier today, President Biden expressed concern over Ukraine aid without a speaker. The House is not able to pass legislation. 5 injured in last night's college shooting in Maryland. What local officials are saying about what exactly happened. Also, the largest strike of U.S. healthcare workers in recent history kicking off today. The negotiations that led to 75,000 hitting the picket lines.
Plus, rain is on the way tomorrow and eventually that colder air, too, that's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Morgan State. We got 4 shots right across from the station at 3rd Good Marshall. Oh, God. Shots fired. Gunshots heard.
That was local police radio traffic responding to dispatch at Morgan State active shooter seen last night in Maryland. 5 people were shot. Police say 4 of the 5 were students there. They ranged in age from 18 to 22. Their injuries, thankfully, all non-life threatening. Police did not say how many people are suspected in this, but did confirm that there have been no arrests so far. Baltimore's mayor says these acts of violence must stop.
The horrific act of violence is a sickening a reminder for all of us of how commonplace these incidents have become. And we must end the epidemic of gun violence in our communities once and for all.
A shelter-in-place order was lifted early this morning after a SWAT team searched the building where police believe the shots were fired. Classes at the university were canceled today. Right now, it's unclear what led to the shooting.
Well, clouds making their way in, and then eventually the rain will make its way in too. We have a front off to our west, a very strong cold front that's eventually going to bring some much chillier air for the weekend. But until then, we're tracking some rain. So tomorrow, still fairly mild, back into the upper 70s. We start out cloudy. By the afternoon, we start to see rain build in, likely after 1-2 p.m. And then evening commute likely looking pretty messy out there. So plan on those windshield wipers going for the evening. Eventually that heads out after sunset. Quieter weather on Friday, although I do think we could see a few more showers by late Friday evening as we really see that colder air begin to push its way in. Chilly weather for this weekend, perhaps a spot shower even during the day on Saturday. I'll let you know how much colder we're going to get coming up in a bit.
While a judge is expected to decide soon on whether to move the Pike County murder case against Billy Wagner. Wagner is accused of helping kill 8 members of the Roden and Gilley families in April of 2016. A Pike County jury convicted his eldest son, George, on all charges last year. His youngest son, Jake, and wife, Angela, have already pleaded guilty for their parts in the crimes. If a move to this case is ordered, it would be up to the Ohio Supreme Court to pick a new venue. Wagner's trial is scheduled to begin in May of next year. The deadly shooting of a 21-year-old pregnant woman by Blendon Township Police in central Ohio has been ruled a homicide. Takaya Young died in late August after a police officer fired into her windshield when she refused to leave the car and it started rolling towards him in a Kroger parking lot. She was suspected of shoplifting alcohol. Her unborn daughter did not survive. The officer who fired the shot has not been named yet and has not been fired or charged in her death. Ohio BCI continues to investigate. The man arrested in the killing of rapper Tupac Shakur appeared in court for the first time today. Dwayne Davis walked into a Las Vegas courtroom for his arraignment, but without his lawyer. He told the judge that his defense attorney wouldn't be attending and asked for a 2-week continuance, which the judge granted. Davis is accused of orchestrating the 1996 shooting that killed Shakur, who is widely hailed as one of the most influential hip-hop artists of all time. The Clark County DA says they believe Davis will be convicted.
Any case that's 27 years old sometimes presents some challenges, but we feel very confident that the criminal justice system will work in this case.
Now, Davis is being held without bail until at least his next court appearance. He's expected to plead not guilty. More than 75,000 Kaiser Permanente employees and workers have walked off the job, kicking off the largest strike of U.S. healthcare workers in recent history. The unions approved a strike for 3 days in California, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, and for a day in Virginia and D.C. Comes after the company couldn't reach an agreement with labor negotiators on wage increases and staffing levels.
During COVID, frontline healthcare workers were there for our patients, for our communities. We were touted as healthcare heroes. And now when we're at bargaining, all we are told is we're too expensive.
Kaiser argues its compensation and retention are better than its competitors in the market. The company says its hospitals will remain open during the picketing and temporary workers are being brought in to fill the vacancies. The latest now from the United Auto Workers strike. There's now movement in labor negotiations between the Detroit's big 3 car companies and the UAW. Sources familiar with the talks say progress was seen at all 3 companies with some offers being exchanged. One source says there's been more movement in the talks with Jeep maker Stellantis than with Ford and GM. But as Reuters reports, Ford and union negotiators have narrowed their differences on wage hikes. All right, here's a live look from downtown Troy tonight. Quiet evening. It is warm, though. That's going to change soon. Let's check in with Natalie.
Well, quiet but nice evening out here in our Watson's Weather Patio, but big changes, they are going to be making their way in. By tomorrow, we start to see rain pushing through the area by the second half of the day. So mainly after lunchtime into the evening, showers start to push through. Overall, anticipating at least 1/4 of an inch of rainfall for most of the area. Some spots may be getting up to 1/2 an inch of rainfall. Either way, beneficial for our region as we still have moderate drought conditions for much of the Miami Valley, abnormally dry conditions too. But as far as these next several days go, once that rain moves out, colder air slides in, highs only in the upper 50s as we head into this weekend. I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up in a bit.
A new feature coming to Uber, how they're making it easier to take packages to the post office. And the $1 billion up for grabs in tonight's Powerball drawing. We got those winning numbers after the break. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Well, Chick-fil-A fans rejoice. The Washington Township location now back open for business. The location at 1482 Miamisburg Centerville Road had been closed down since March because of renovations. They took to Facebook today, showing off some of their first customers since the reopening. You can check them out between the normal store hours, 6:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. Well, soon Uber won't just be for catching a ride. If you have packages to return and don't feel like it, you'll soon be able to call an Uber to do it for you. The rideshare company says its drivers will collect up to 5 prepaid and sealed packages and drop them off at a local post office, UPS, or FedEx for $5. Now, the service will be available in nearly 5,000 cities to start. Customers will be able to pick them up at the drop-off location on the app. They can also use the service to mail new packages that are sealed with prepaid labels. All right, so the Powerball numbers are in: 9, 35, 54, 63, 64, and 1. If you're like me and had all low numbers, I'm sorry, you are out of luck. But we'll see if anybody actually wins it. This is like the 30th drawing in a row that no one has won, so we'll see what happens. It's $1.2 billion, more than $500 million if you take the cash payout. Well, it is already week 8 of Thursday Night Lights. Matt is in next with a look at this week's matchup between Springfield Catholic Central and Greene. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. We're in the home stretch of the high school football regular season and week 8 of Thursday Night Lights. It is a matchup from the Ohio Heritage Conference as Springfield Catholic Central visits Greene. Now, Springfield Catholic Central opened 2023 with a win, but haven't been able to replicate the success since. However, the Irish are still in the conversation for a playoff berth